Chapter 2, Mishnah 10. The Torah in Vayikra, chapter 17, verses 1 through 9, prohibits slaughtering a korban outside the Beis HaMikdash. If someone did so, he is liable to the punishment of kares, and the animal may not be eaten. Our Mishnah considers the law where someone slaughtered an ordinary, unconsecrated animal, Chullin, outside the Beis HaMikdash, but said that he was doing so for the purpose of offering it as a korban. According to biblical law, the animal may be eaten since it never actually became a korban. Tanaim disagree whether the animal is forbidden according to rabbinic law. If someone slaughters an unconsecrated animal outside the Beis HaMikdash and said that he was doing so for the sake of an olah, for the sake of a shalamim, for the sake of an asham talui, for the sake of a pesach, for the sake of a toda, his shechita is invalid under rabbinic decree, and so the animal may not be eaten. The sages were concerned that people might think the slaughterer had consecrated the animal as a korban just before the shechita, and so when they see the animal being eaten, they will conclude that it is permitted to eat a korban that had been slaughtered outside the Beis HaMikdash. To prevent people from making this mistake, the sages declared the shechita invalid. But Rabbi Shimon rules that the shechita is valid because he holds that the sages had no such concern. The first Tana continues, if two people hold a knife and slaughter an animal together, with one of them intending the shechita to be for the sake of one of these offerings listed above, and the other intending the shechita to be for something acceptable, their shechita is invalid because the sage's concern applies in this case as well. The types of korbanos listed above, olah, shlamim, etc., can be offered on a voluntary basis. Even a person who is not obligated to bring such a korban may choose to do so at any time. Thus, if the slaughterer said that he is slaughtering an animal for the sake of one of these korbanos, it is possible that he had just consecrated it. The sages therefore prohibited eating its meat as explained above. The Mishnah now deals with korbanos that cannot be offered on a voluntary basis. If someone slaughters an unconsecrated animal outside of the Beis HaMikdash for the sake of a chatas, for the sake of a definite asham, for the sake of a bechor, for the sake of meiser, or for the sake of a tamura, his shechita is valid, and the animal may be eaten. Since these korbanos cannot be offered voluntarily, we are not concerned that people will suspect the slaughter of having consecrated the animal just before the shechita. The sages therefore had no reason to forbid eating its meat. The Mishnah concludes with the general rule. This is the rule: if someone slaughters an unconsecrated animal outside the Beis HaMikdash for the sake of any type of korban that can be brought as a vowed or donated offering, i.e. voluntarily, it is prohibited to be eaten. But if he slaughters it for the sake of a korban that cannot be brought as a vowed or donated offering, i.e. cannot be offered voluntarily, it is fit to be eaten.